Well, we have somebody really special here today that I've known for quite a few years. Her name is Kimberly Kent. So tell us about yourself, your childhood, just in a short amount of time.
My childhood?
Yeah, your background.
Well, I grew up in Fairfield, California. Got a brother and a sister. Had a pretty good childhood. I enjoyed most things. I was into all sorts of music, gymnastics, band, any sport that was happening at the time I was involved in. Just made the most of what was available to me as I grew up.
So I understand that you spent some time in Europe also.
Yes. Day after I graduated from high school, our whole family went over to Europe during the '72 Olympics to be with YWAM, which is a Youth with a Mission, missionary organization. And spent time there, came back after about 18 months, went through Bible college, and then went back over to Germany.
Germany. Okay. So what is your basic passion in life?
My basic passion is anything active. Basic passion is dance, movement, musicality, and just to be able to pass that on to enrich people's lives through that.
Okay. So what are you doing now?
Right now I work as a substitute teacher on the air base.
Okay. And so you've run into some interesting things there.
Just some challenges. I just see where the educational system has pretty much not been for our kids. Our kids aren't getting the most out of what they should be getting from the education system, for one reason or another.
So we're not getting value for money?
No.
So you noticed something about snacks that kids are having?
Yeah, I don't think parents and surprisingly enough, teachers and staff are not aware of value in our food and what is actually in our foods, and that it can either help or hinder a child. And I'm finding that, you know, they're just so naive or just so busy that they can't do the studies, that we're actually harming our kids by the snacks we send in, and we're actually inhibiting their ability to learn or retain what they get during the day. So a lot of time, you know, some of these classrooms I go in and just most of the kids, I would say at least 2/3 of the kids in the classroom are just out of control, not able to concentrate. And I'm looking at what they are eating in the snacks they bring from home and the school lunches, or, you know, what is in their lunchbox, what's provided for them is not good. It's processed. It's full of, you know, stuff they really, their brains can't handle.
You're talking about things like high fructose corn syrup?
I don't see that so much now, but I see a lot of food coloring and a lot of artificial ingredients. And a lot of food coloring. So all you need is like a little bit of food coloring, but in everything they have, and it just adds up. You know, food colorings that in Europe has been actually not just banned, but illegal for at least 50, 60 years because it's so poisonous. You know, I'm just surprised that more people aren't aware of that and what it does to a child.
Well, that's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, and we'd rather, you know, dumb down the symptom, which means let's drug them up, instead of cleaning up the cause.
Well, is there anything we can do about it?
Awareness is the first thing.
Wow.
You know, you could be a real pain and just...
But didn't America start the health craze? Years and years ago. You had the Jane Fonda movement, and fitness, and then you are what you eat, and etc.
They started a health craze, but I think they want to tip the balances. And you can't write something by tipping it totally to the other side, because then it has to come all the way and then it tips the other side. You just end up with this big pendulum that goes back and forth and back and forth. You don't end up anything really that balances. Because you listen to the person that yells the loudest or has the most money to back what they're yelling, and that's what we see now.
What about this gluten-free phase that we're seeing now? We don't see that in Europe.
We don't see that in Europe because we don't use the pesticides in Europe, and we've not used those. Europe doesn't use those pesticides. We've been using them for years. So you consider that, first of all, you have pesticides that have now gone into the soil, and then you've got these companies that give you the genetically altered seeds and grains that they plant, and so now that's just in the DNA of all the whatever's grown. And now we're feeding that to our animals, from which we are getting meat, eggs, milk. And even though it says, well, we don't feed them these hormones, they don't have to because it's already there. So we're just getting a glut of pesticides in our bodies just by eating it. Whereas if the same people that say they have these intolerances, they go over to Europe and they can eat all that stuff with no problem at all.
You mean they eat bread?
Oh, they eat bread. They eat bread, they eat pastries. In fact, they enjoy it because they can't do it here. And yet, there's places you can do it here. You just need to be careful what you buy. Just buy the whole grains, because there's still enough left in there where you're going to get the goodness and not the allergens. And sprouted grains.
So the future, how do you see us going as a nation? You know, are we over the hump? Is our health improving? Medical?
I don't think our health is not improving because we are dependent. A good majority of the population is dependent on some sort of drug or alternative to keep them going. And even people on these diets, these great diets that are supposedly healthy for you, but now they have to buy supplements to supplement the diet they went on that's healthy so that they can stay healthy. So, you know, it's just kind of a...
So you don't recommend the keto diet?
I don't recommend any diet that drastically cuts out a portion of nutrition.
Mm. Wow. So, to sum up, what would you like to see done in the next 10 years? How can we, as just normal people, street people, what can we do?
That's a hard question. I don't know what the normal street person can do. The normal street person is going to find out what's best for them, which is extremely hard because you're getting bombarded constantly. And even if you hear some good advice, then, you know, Mr. Bigwig or the person with all the numbers and letters behind their name and all their supposed studies that they've proven things with come along and, oh, well, we're just going to try it. And you've just compromised your body again. Every time you just try something, you compromise the signals within your own body that say, do this, we can manage, we can fight, and then you compromise it, and it takes out the body's own defenses, is what we're doing. We're actually killing our body's own defenses by constantly bombarding it with harsh alternatives.
So vaccination, we're seeing, you know, when I was a kid we had a polio jab and a couple of other things, and that was it. There was about 3 things. But it certainly wasn't when we were, you know, we were 7 and 10 when those things happened.
And now it's like less than 7 hours old, and vaccinating a baby. For what? That's what the mother's milk is supposed to be for.
Mm.
That's what builds. See, every time you take a vaccination, you compromise the body's own immune system. And they tell you, well, it's making it stronger, it's helping it defend it. It's not. So it's like marching into a country and taking out all their military so that you can then take over. And that's what we do. Now, as soon as that vaccination starts wearing off, well, your body's going, I ain't got nothing to give you. So now you got to do it again. You got to do it again. And with all that vaccination, there may be 10% of something that's good that will be good to fight off viruses or whatever. You've got all this junk that is absolutely unnecessary and harmful. You've got metals in there. You've got animal body stuff in there. That why do we have to have that? And you got dyes in there. Who cares what color the vaccination is that goes in your body? And it's the same thing with aspirin and Tylenol and Advil and flu medicine and over-the-counter cold medicines. I don't care. I don't want 3 food colorings in my cough syrup. I just want the coughing to stop, and I'm not going to check out the color that I'm taking. But the body's going to check it out, and it's going to put it where it shouldn't be. So, you know, we are just overdoing all that harmful stuff.
Are we being used as guinea pigs?
Mm-hmm. Of course we are. And they know it. The drug companies know it. The FDA know it. And the FDA are for it.
Well, they reckon by 2030 or 2050, half the nation is going to be diabetic.
Oh yeah.
What are we doing about it?
Nothing. We're just following the leader. And he's going to jump over the cliff. But he'll have the parachute. That's about what it amounts to.
Wow. So, can we trust our politicians to do anything?
No. What have they done so far for us? They've actually enlisted the companies that are putting harmful stuff in our food are now head of the FDA, who approve all the harmful stuff going into our food. So they're for us. And they've actually made it illegal for us to bring any lawsuits or actions against those companies. Why would they do that? If it's for our good, why would they prevent us from sorting it out if we don't agree?
Wow. Okay. It would be nice if we could end it on something positive. I heard you became a grandmother again.
Yes, that's very positive.
Mm.
And she's all mine. She's my DNA.
I heard you had an argument with the eldest granddaughter.
Yeah, she said she gets her because, Grandma, she's my DNA. I said, she's my DNA first. Yeah, and grandmas are always going to trump. Mm-hmm.